Welcome back to another video. It's your boy Kyle, and in today's episode, we are reacting to Goji Guys, who is the strongest analog horror Godzilla. If my boy Godzilla in hell is not here, I'm gonna be sad, bro, because he's my strongest. I'm just saying, he's my new favorite. With that being said, if you guys are enjoying this content, be sure to like and subscribe and go show Goji Guys some love. And let's roll straight into the video.
Through pop culture for over 70 years now.
Okay,
and with
Goji
relative
Guy.
ease at that.
Welcome.
Sure, there have been some times where the public has gotten tired of him, such as the end of the Showa era and the Millennium era, but nonetheless, he holds the title of the longest ongoing fictional film character ever. Yes, Kong
I did not know that.
him, but each film was a reboot, and Godzilla having an actual series gives him that title. Godzilla has survived the test of time thanks to his adaptability. Not some powers he has in film, but in the real world. When a friendly Godzilla defends humans, Showa Godzilla. When a ruthless king that kills kaiju in his way, Heisei in Monsterverse. When a Godzilla represents the atrocities of man and the suffering we've inflicted upon each other, -1, 54.
Time out. This guy, Goji Guy, I like him. He's good. He knows all of his information. He's downloaded it into my brain.
Shin, GMK, Peck, even a freaking cell, you got it. Though there is one area
that's crazy.
Lack. Horror. Toho, due to their rules, won't allow Godzilla to eat people or kill someone directly in general.
It would be nice,
play
though.
Safe and keep it somewhat appropriate for normal audiences. But
It
luckily,
would be nice.
due to his kaiju-sized fan base, many have taken it upon themselves to scratch
To
that
do it
itch
themselves?
for a horror
Okay,
Godzilla.
I like
the
that.
Suit Mason Trials, Bloodbath Godzilla, and Godzilla NES, and many more have stepped up to the playing field to satisfy the fans. But out of all of them, which is the strongest?
I didn't know about
which
that.
is truly the scariest in terms
He
of power?
is terrifying.
Well, as we prepare for Spooky Day, I'm here to answer that very question. Hello everyone, I'm your host Goji Guy, and today we'll be taking some of the most popular versions of horror versions of Godzilla and
I
seeing
like
which one of
this.
them is the king of nightmares. Will it be the humble man in the suit, or a mushroom cloud rise to the top? Well, without further ado, make sure to subscribe. Want to see more content like
Subscribe
this, and let's
to
get
Goji Guy, y'all.
shall we? Now, for this video, we'll be looking at 7 major versions of horror Godzilla.
7 versions.
Now, yes, there are many more. I'm aware I'm missing.
That's pretty.
But the ones we'll be
That's
covering,
scary.
at least in my opinion, are the most widely known. So sorry if I missed some random niche one that can blow up a
damn,
galaxy
that
or
looks
something.
sick.
Only covering the most known versions. So with that being said, who will they be? Well, we'll be ranking the Suit Mason Trials, the Man in the Suit, Bloodbath Godzilla, Mushroom Cloud Godzilla.
Okay, Bloodbath Godzilla, and do you see the way Mushroom Cloud Godzilla is looking at me? Bloodbath Godzilla is terrifying because he's got like slender-esque arms, and he looks creepy. He looks creepy.
The Invasion of Godzilla, Suitborn, and finally Niloticus.
Niloticus?
These guys based on who is strongest in terms of feats. So if they were to say get into a fight, we want to know which one of them will win.
Ooh,
if we
he
wanna
looks
know
like a
which one
mushroom
of them
cloud
is the
for
biggest
reals.
threat to you individually, I'd likely say Invasion or Bloodbath due to them spreading
Bloodbath.
disease and radiation and mutating people. Now I can already
Oh,
hear the
he can
comments.
mutate
What about
people?
Black Mask Godzilla? And well, simple. I'm not going to make a Tumblr account. I am signed up for way too many social medias, and I am not going to sign up for another. Don't get me wrong, the art looks amazing.
Oh,
and
wow.
great work to the
That's
creator,
sick.
but sadly he won't be covered. Is that lazy on my end? Yep.
Okay,
But with that
this is
aside,
being
let's begin
truthful.
the ranking, shall we? Again, we'll be covering all their feats and ranking them from least to greatest. So,
Let me
without
hear it,
further
bro.
ado, let's cover the strongest horror Godzilla.
Bloodbath
First
gonna
up
be
at 7th place. I know
him.
off the bat, many of you will think I'm wrong here, but the Suit Mason Trials take 7th place without a doubt. Now,
Because
Suit
they're
Mason
doing it in
Trials
a
is
suit,
powerful
right?
in a magical way, if you will. But in actual feats, he doesn't have much. When it comes to sheer strength, we know he's able to bite through the Anguirus suit with enough force to crunch the actor below, but other than that, he really doesn't do much in terms of physical feats. Sure, he's able to push around the actor in the Anguirus suit, but given he kind of no longer exists, his strength is more or less 0. Other than that,
So he's
we know
weak?
he is somehow locked in the screen or in the tape, and is somehow able to communicate through it, but we don't see anything that implies he can heavily alter the real world from his prison of fiction. So overall, while a horrifying idea, he does take last place. All
see.
you need to do is just
That's cool.
unplug your TV and
you
you're done.
win.
It's really that simple. Next up is 6th place. A good jump ahead of the Suit Mason
This looks like
Trials is
Roblox, bro.
From, well, Suitborn. Now,
Suitborn
don't take it the wrong
in
way.
Roblox.
While
Oh,
about
I
the
gotta
guy
play
that's literally
this.
stuck in a TV, Suitborn isn't that great in terms of power. Being outpaced by a sprinting and sometimes walking human, and getting caught in a bear trap, this guy
That's
isn't great.
silly, bro.
He can't even break through walls. At least as of the making of
Oh, this
the
is
video.
like Five
I
Nights
do
at
imagine
Freddy's,
further
but
updates we
meets
will see
Godzilla,
that,
huh?
But as of recording this, that being October 5th, Suitborn sits comfortably at 6th. Moving on. Next up at 5th place, place your bets.
Interesting.
All right, got him? Cool. We've got Niloticus from
Niloticus.
This Godzilla beast is a solid jump. And
I didn't realize how many Godzilla games there are on Roblox. I know Roblox has a ton of games. I used to be a Roblox YouTuber, bro. You know, go look me up, Game Time College. I ain't got none of those videos over there. But dang, they got a lot of freaking Godzilla games over on Roblox. I might have to go check these out.
probably the most complicated here, so bear with me. To get a good idea of his strength, we'll be taking a look at his in-game stats and running them in the real world to get a general idea.
Okay, so we got his damage,
so firstly,
speed,
we need to understand
stamina.
the in-game stat chart. Overall, Niloticus has pretty solid stats, with 20 damage, 28 speed, 40 stamina, and a
his difficulty
rating
4 out
of
of 5. Okay.
He, at least according to the game.
Oh,
is one
I
of the
hate
top
that. That
tiers.
is disgusting
Besides
and
the
creepy
in-game
looking,
ranking
bro.
System, which we'll cover here in a sec, let's cover the hard facts, his feats, or at least who he is better than in his own abilities. Starting with himself. For abilities, he has 2, those being Godly Jump, which take a while to guess what that is. He can jump really far.
Yep,
and along with
it.
that, he has his Irradiated Mist, which is where he barfs up some radioactive mist that
And
lingers
then
for about 30
what does it
seconds
do?
on the ground. Any player, or in this case, anything that goes through it, will be irradiated for a little while. Or as the game says, the irradiated debuff will be applied to them. But what really matters is who he's faster than and the difficulty ranking. But let's start with the smaller speed part. Niloticus is faster than beings like Uncle Samsonite. Samsonite having an ability called Uncle's Wrath, where he stomps the ground, sending out a large shockwave attack. Now, while Samsonite does hit a lot harder, given the speed gap between the two, ignoring the game's rules, you could argue Niloticus could do a smaller version of this attack. If he can swing his arms down a lot faster, then he can build up more energy when swinging them down, and likely match Samsonite's attack to a certain extent. He's also faster than Fuwadi.
What the hell is that, bro?
Swinging them down, and
Look at
likely match
this thing.
Samsonite's
Look at this
attack to
thing.
a certain extent. He's also
That's nightmare fuel. That is terrifying. It looks like a piece of Play-Doh with some teeth.
faster than Fuwadi. Fuwadi, along with many other characters in the game, gain a huge damage buff when going faster, such as MX with his Rush and Fuwadi with his.
This
Fuwadi
game
and
looked
MX
kind of fire, bro.
specifically
What
deal
game
a
is
lot
this?
of damage just from running into a player. So despite them both hitting harder, you could argue that Niloticus being faster could hit with similar force. Keep in mind that this is their special attack, not their base attack strength. So in a realistic setting, Niloticus, thanks to how fast he runs and hits, would be hitting with likely anywhere from 30 to 40 damage, at least if you take it in the real world and then put it back into the game. But we aren't going to go back and then compare the 30 to 40 to other people.
No.
Be going
Unnecessary.
Time. So despite him hitting weaker in game, realistically, thanks to his speed, his base attacks would match the stronger base attacks of harder hitting characters in the game. Not to mention his Godly Jump paired with that means he would be hitting insanely hard. And then on top of all of that, he has his chipping damage with his radiation effects. He's a tough
And then
foe
he
to
hits
take
you
down.
with that
But now let's get into
radiation.
the potatoes.
Yeah, you're done.
Difficulty ranking.
Cooked.
Now, why is this the most important? Well, as you can imagine, as implied in game, along with some devs backing up my theory, the more difficult a character is, in short, they are more powerful. Now, yes, some people are easier to take down thanks to strategies you can use in game, but we are talking objectively. Now, firstly, Niloticus is inherently more of a threat than beings like Ayo Oni. I think I got that right. A being who can straight up shapeshift into the player and trick them. Or MX, a guy who, despite healing
That looks like Mario, bro.
is only half as dangerous as
Looks
him.
like
Or
Mario,
Valor,
bro.
a creature who, using his abilities, can manipulate the player, making them unable to run or darkening their vision. And again, despite all these abilities, Niloticus is more difficult. And keep in mind, he's just fast. But now onto who he's matched in power with. Firstly, Vapor, a being who can set his targets ablaze and teleport at random. Or
Oh,
Ink
damn.
Spell, a creature that can make its own ink portal things, but most
That looked like
impressively,
a
he is
knockoff
matched in power
Bendy.
with Uncle Samsonite. Now, to those who don't play Pillar Chase, let me explain why this
Pillar
is so
Chase,
impressive.
that's what it's
Uncle
called. I might have to
Samsonite
check
has
this
an
out.
ability called Domain Traversal, where he teleports a player to his own pocket dimension. Now, while it is impressive, the main reason to have him higher is because the domain itself isn't really that big, only around the size of a small building. If it was an island or something like Dagon's domain expansion in JJK, then sure.
got some
that'd give him a lot
JJK
higher.
references
But it
in
isn't
here.
really
Okay,
constant,
Goji guy.
Literally being an empty building. with
Anime
a
fan,
door.
I see.
But still, being able to match him in terms of difficulty is impressive. So Niloticus earns a spot at 5th place. But now,
Okay.
moving on.
Who's in
Next
fourth?
up at 4th place is the Man in the Suit by Unknowingly. Now, he's a slight jump from Niloticus,
Man
but
in
not
the
a major
Suit.
one. But let's start with his feats of strength. Firstly, in Anguir's suit incident, the Man in the Suit is able to bite through the Anguir's suit and into the skull of the actor below, killing him in seconds. In Godzilla Encounter, he's able to pretty easily overwhelm the Kong suit actor and ends up holding him underwater, killing him. Later, when our cameraman is running away as he hears screams, this is not only due to the crew finding Kong's body, but then largely due to the crew themselves being killed off. This being confirmed by Unknowingly himself. Again, in that episode, he's able to take out the power in the building, meaning he did enough damage to the surrounding area to cut through enough wires in the wall.
Okay, check it out. I've personally never watched any of these like analog horror Godzilla, videos. So my knowledge on it, I'm learning a ton from Goji Guy right now. I do need to go and watch some of these channels that Goji Guy is sharing with us, because this right here, bro, it looks like they're taking actual footage from Godzilla films, but then painting a picture and creating a storyline based around the footage and whatever creative writing that they're performing. I really, really mess with that. That's dope, man. That's pretty creative.
Later in Masura suit incident, it is said in the video that no amount of security would have been enough, likely implying that the Man in the Suit at this point is already relatively bulletproof, at least to a smaller caliber.
Damn.
He's backed up later with a shotgun feat that we'll cover in a moment.
That's crazy.
He's also able to bite all the way through the larva suit and kill the actress below, and
Okay.
then just to essentially teabag.
So is it
on her,
actually a
and
Man
then
in the
also
Suit? Is that what
catch
they're
that. And lastly, for strength, in
saying,
the
or is
Ghidorah
it
suit
actually
incident video, the Ghidorah suit is said to be the most durable one yet. And keep in mind, suits at this point, such as the Reeling Gira suit, having a skull-like hardness to it, or the original Godzilla suit itself being made of ready-to-mix concrete, means the Ghidorah suit is a tank of a costume. Now, Godzilla doesn't bite through it, as it's really just too difficult to land a good bite anywhere, but at this point, it is likely the suit would have stood no chance against it.
Okay.
So the man in the suit in terms of strength slightly edges out Niloticus. Well, yes, Niloticus is as powerful as Uncle Samsonite. That doesn't mean he can output an attack that could take down Uncle Samsonite's domain. But all that is just his strength. Let's move on to durability. As far back as the Godzilla suit incident, the man in the suit, as we know later thanks to Elsa, in depiction of growth, is able to withstand being blown up inside the suit, and then quickly fuse to it. The suit's skin becomes its own. We also get a lot of great information from dorsal.
Wait up, so there is a dude in the suit, he got blown up inside the suit, and then fused with the suit? What the frick is that, bro? How does that happen?
Extraction, where we can hear power tools being used to cut the man in the suit. And given the screeching the tools made, it seems that the man in the suit's scales are as hard as most metals.
Oh, that's crazy.
That, the man in the suit himself really didn't care much, as he was in fact very cooperative, being unbothered and unharmed, while his back was being ripped open. To add on, it is likely the man in the suit will become stronger and more durable, as Ilsa confirms that the man in the suit is radioactive. So much so,
he's radioactive.
He'll just keep mutating forever, getting larger and more powerful. And for his big feat, the shotgun blast. Now, while it did
he's
blow his head
mutated.
off, he did quickly start to
Interesting.
regrow back, showing that he has incredible regeneration. And on that note, his abilities. Now, besides his own regen, he has his mutation abilities. Being so radioactive in nature, he's able to mutate others around him, such as he did with the Anguirus suit actor, where when he bit into the suit and through the actor's skull, it seems he killed the actor below. But his mutation revived him and fused him to the suit like the man in the suit himself. In depiction of growth, Ilsa says that it's already too late for mankind. Now, does this mean he's a planet buster? No. But she's likely referring to the fact that there is nothing we have to stop
Nothing's gonna stop him.
Going on a rampage.
Nothing's gonna stop him.
Up, he'll regen. If he bites you, you'll mutate into a monster. And of course, he wouldn't be a Godzilla if he didn't have an atomic breath, or in this case, acidic blood. The man in the suit is able to vomit out an acidic and corrosive acid blood, being potent enough to go through flesh and metal alike. As soon as he uses it in the forest, it melted a giant hole into the ground, and the blood itself will begin to mutate, such as it did in the forest, as it began to grow eyes. So even if you survive the acid attack, you will start to mutate from it. It also seems that
sounds like hell, bro.
Times, the man in the suit is able to think, even to the extent of normal people, such as seeing a mailed message, where it seems that the man in the suit was able to ship something to the viewer about his family in the war. So overall, this guy is a snowplow of a monster.
Why don't he just go into the mountains and stay far away from humans?
Holes in the street is to be expected from this guy. But with that being said, we're now moving on to the top 3. And with a special guest, Goji Chronic, take it away.
Hey guys, it's Goji Chronic from Goji Chronic. I want to thank Goji Guy for having me here on the channel, and he asked me to cover one of the Godzillas. So naturally, I'm here to oblige. So with that being said,
number 3,
in third place we've got Bloodbath Godzilla.
I wanted Bloodbath to be number 1, bro. He looks so cool.
This guy is pretty simple as far as feats go. While not being nearly as complex as the man in the suit or some of the other Godzillas that we've covered, his feats, while fewer, are still more impressive.
He's scary
so
looking, bro.
With his feats, in Godzilla Bloodbath beam scene teaser, Bloodbath is able to destroy an entire city block with his atomic breath.
His atomic breath look fire, bro.
For Godzilla Bloodbath, we also see that he's able to mutate life around him, infecting humans.
Okay, so he can turn humans into mutants.
Human-esque hybrids.
Oh,
and we aren't talking about no metal pole, like full-on kaiju human hybrids.
That's actually
Along
cool.
with humans, we see in the subsequent trailer for said radiated hybrids, he's seemingly also able to mutate all forms of animals, from gross human hybrids to giant hunks of flesh, and they aren't only able
what
to
the frick
mutate
is
a little,
that, bro?
They just become overall very freakish. Their bodies warping, some turning into
is that a
balls
dog?
of meat, some growing beaks, and some even growing 3 heads with long necks.
Long neck.
But now onto the more noble stuff, and Godzilla unleashes the atomic breath. Bloodbath is able to destroy a building to a small degree when simply lifting his hand. He is able to roar up his innards and is fine with it also, so his internal durability should
How he go boo-boo now?
In Godzilla vs. the military, we see Bloodbath is able to think to himself, and he even goes on to have his own inner monologue.
He pretty creepy looking.
He's able to withstand tank fire, so he's pretty durable.
In his own head?
But lastly, and most importantly, there is a Godzilla Bloodbath vs. Legendary Godzilla video. Now, disclaimer,
I gotta watch that, bro.
We are not assuming that this MV Godzilla is canon to the actual legendary counterpart, so we're not gonna just give him all of his feats, because, you know, we're not trying to glaze him now. That's a little much. But we will at least
glaze a little bit, bro. Glaze on. I love the term glaze.
Stature to his canon counterpart. So we're assuming that this guy is 9.
I love glazed donuts.
Tons, and even then, that's pretty generous in my opinion. But
They taste
anyways, with
bomb.
that being said, Bloodbath is able to tank a shove from MV Godzilla, and right after, he's able to kick this MV counterpart back. He goes on to subsequently survive a beam, gets his arm ripped off, and he's just fine with it overall.
And he put it back?
Reattaches it. He even goes on to get his own arm stabbed through his skull, and once again, he's able to just get up. And
that's crazy, bro.
And he also is able to endure being slammed over and over again by this MV counterpart. But yeah, that's pretty much everything we've got for Bloodbath Godzilla. I want to thank Goji Guy once again for having me here on the channel. But with that being said, let me slide the mic back to the proper host.
Thank you, Chronic, for that. And with that being said, we now move on to second place. That being Mushroom Cloud Godzilla.
Mushroom Cloud
Godzilla,
looks
made by the Odd
disgusting,
Productions,
bro.
Is one of the most popular on the
Creepy.
list. Annoyingly so. I can't open any Shin Godzilla related video on TikTok without some corny comment saying,
"Wait till you see Mushroom Cloud Godzilla."
usually
actually,
with a skull emoji and praying hands.
Actually,
what is he
Mushroom
able
Cloud
to do?
Godzilla?
Well, let's cover that. We see in Mushroom Cloud Godzilla 1954 that just from walking
that's creepy,
around,
bro.
he's able to
Long
destroy
neck.
enough
He got a
buildings
long
to cause
neck,
giant
too.
Smoke cloud. With his beam, he's able to cut through buildings and not only explode them, but melt a huge amount of the metal that makes them up, spewing out hot liquid metal across
wow.
the city. And finally, in
What?
that video, he's able to blow up the Tokyo Skytree. Now, this building is absolutely gigantic, and being able to
Did
blow
you
it
see
up
the way
so fast,
the metal
such a large
melted?
mushroom cloud accompanied by it, we are looking at an explosive yield similar to a bomb with dozens of kilotons.
Oh, he's
Moving on to Mushroom Cloud Godzilla
OP, bro.
1956, we get a lot of great feats. Firstly, we see drawings of feats of Mushroom Cloud Godzilla eviscerating a Navy vessel. Now, what
The frick
type
is
of boat
that?
it?
Loch
I
Ness
don't know.
Monster?
It looks like a destroyer, but I don't know anything about, naval vessels. But regardless, he is lifting and splitting a multi-thousand-ton ship with ease. We also see more of his beam in action, being able to cause explosions on the ground wherever the beam is aimed at. Again, later, we see him generate a giant explosion from hitting a building with his beam. And overall, we see that he left a large chunk of the
he caused a
city in
ton of
ruins.
destruction,
Overall,
bro.
While Bloodbath Godzilla
He caused
is
a
likely physically
ton of
stronger
destruction.
and smarter, it really comes down to the beams here. And I think Mushroom Cloud being able to create such a massive explosion would give him a slight edge over Bloodbath.
I
But in all
agree.
honesty,
I
you
agree.
could interchange
I agree.
them. But personally, I have him sitting at number 2. So with all that being said,
So who's number one?
remains. Now, before we show it off, as all YouTubers do, it's time to e-bag. If you've enjoyed this video so far,
E-bag.
and want to see more content like this, ranging from dinosaurs, kaiju, sci-fi, and much more.
I like that,
make sure to
bro.
subscribe.
I'm taking
We
that,
have plenty
Goji
more
Guy.
spooky-related
Let
videos
me
planned this
e-bag
month
one
that I'm
time.
sure you all will
Subscribe.
enjoy, such as putting the one that always
Please.
goes back into the back rooms, or seeing if the Bay Harbor Butcher could take out Jurassic World's most dangerous dinosaurs. So make sure to subscribe. And finally, let's get on to number 1, that being Invasion of Godzilla.
Invasion of Godzilla.
As we said, Invasion of Godzilla takes first place, and quite easily at that. Invasion of Godzilla, made by Jacob Animations, is the most horrifying version of a horror Godzilla. This dude is an absolute menace, and if you haven't watched the series, I really recommend
Is this
it. It
freaking
my personal
Saja
favorite,
Boys?
Which I know some angry Reddit power scalers are about to accuse
This
me of bringing
is
this list and having a
more than
personal bias,
power,
but allow me to
more
tell
than
you why he
gold.
sits here at first.
First you
First,
gave me
this
your
video,
heart, now
that
I'm
means
here
that
for your
Rampage.
bro. Hey,
Already
W
off the
song, bro.
bat, Godzilla is able
It's
to
like the
seemingly
8-bit
either come
version.
out of
I
the
messed with
ground
it.
or come out of the
My
ocean
bad.
so
Didn't
fast
pay
that
attention.
he destroyed the ground below him. Godzilla is seemingly lifting giant chunks of rock off the ground just from standing up. We also know he took down a cruise ship, melting through the ship with his beam. which was so
I'm
bright
distracted,
and
y'all.
hot, people on board started melting into
I want to
it.
start singing.
And not to mention the beam's light. It was so bright, witnesses
This Godzilla
reported
is
it feeling like their eyes were going to
OP, bro.
explode. And the final cherry on top, with a
OP.
single beam, Godzilla made the air toxic, meaning he easily already
What?
kills off the lower rank horror Gojis. And already is
He
likely
made the
about to
air
pass Bloodbath,
toxic.
But we aren't
That's
anywhere near
crazy.
close. Later, he attacks Boston, leveling cities in his way. When the military arrives, all of their efforts were seemingly able to knock off a single dorsal plate. But the horrific thing about this Godzilla is that he adapts. Godzilla, during the attacks, was able to adapt to the jets above him and simply shoots out his dorsals, taking the jets down in the process.
What?
He is then able to almost instantly regrow them. He also shows off his range of
Yeah, that's a
nuclear
problem.
attacks, from
That's a
projectile
problem.
Dorsals, beams, giant nuclear balls, to even being able to extend his dorsals rather than shooting them out, as seen in the Invasion of Godzilla
That's a-
footage.
that's
which
a
I would
problem.
personally still argue is canon. But I will go ahead and set down the big thing. From just attacking New York, his radiation readings were enough to threaten people all the way in California. Even people up
Okay,
in Alberta,
so we cooked.
Canada weren't safe.
Where I
Also on
live.
topic,
I'm in
this part of the
California,
can
we
right
cooked.
Here is called the rivet. I was trying to look up parts of Canada, but accidentally just typed in different parts of can. So now you know. In post-attack, we see that Godzilla
So
is
random.
A-okay with his skin being gone, and he just walks back into the ocean unbothered. In That's Not Our Neighbor, we see the radiation spreads even further. In the mitosis of Godzilla, we see Godzilla is fine with giant chunks of what seems to be his flesh simply fall fall off his body.
Okay,
Same
and he's
flesh
still
soon
alive?
after
Yuck.
starts to grow its own eyes. And as we know,
Oh,
small pieces
it's
of
gonna be
Godzilla's
another
flesh
Godzilla?
can regrow into an entirely new Godzilla.
Oh, that's a
We also learned
problem.
in the same video
That's a-
that
could you
the
imagine?
only way to get rid of Godzilla-infected flesh, which is not Godzilla himself, oddly enough, is to burn it or use acid. So if the other Godzillas can't burn him away, then they'll have a very
Acid.
rough time. Funny enough, the man in the suit has the best bet against fighting this flesh, as Bloodbath or Mushroom Cloud would just blast it far away rather than burning it all up. But thanks to the man in the suit's acid, he actually would be your
Yeah,
best
he
bet
would be able to
here.
fight.
Also see in a new death has been born.
What the frick
we know
is that?
Godzilla survived Operation Crossroads.
What the frick was
and
that,
the
bro?
two sides of the monster just from swinging his
creepy
tail,
looking
Godzilla
dude.
level skyscrapers. And then we learn, as seen in the series, Godzilla mutates all life. Humans, fish, birds, even plants mutate from him. And other than that, the best we have to go off of is the other kaiju that Godzilla should be more powerful than, such as Hedorah, who destroyed
we're-
a town
we're
and
cooked.
leveled a city.
We're just cooked.
who's able to match Hedorah in strength. Rodan, who working with Mothra defeated Hedorah, and Megaguirus, whose roars alone takes down buildings. I
We
think I've made my
are
point
cooked.
clear.
He's
But to add
mutating
on
every
even further,
creature
one thing I
on the
wanna
planet,
mention
including
is that
us.
The battle between these guys,
That's
despite
it.
him being in the lower ranks, the man in the suit would still be around in the final three. It really comes down to whose mutations are worse, the man in the suit, Bloodbath, or Invasion. And I will tell you now, it's Invasion. By far, no questions asked. Firstly, his sheer radiation alone would likely kill off most, if not all, of the contestants here. From making toxic air, to melting humans down, to the fact that
We're
despite
done.
only attacking
We're
New
not
York, his
surviving.
radiation goes
We're-
as far into
you just
Canada.
wrap it
What
up,
is this?
G.
I told you earlier. What is this called?
A rivet. That's a rivet.
All right, good. You're paying attention.
Yup.
If you didn't get it right,
L.
you gotta pay attention, man. His radiation is far higher than either of their two could
Yo,
dream.
Goji guy
Not
might be my new
all
favorite,
these
bro.
go down
This dude
because,
is
oh my gosh,
hilarious,
this
and
is gonna
he's
be like 10 hours
he's hella
long, but I will
informative
cover the
too.
important things. Firstly, we see in Godzilla virus, eating meat infected by Godzilla can cause cell damage along with cancer.
Yeah, you're
and
dead.
Along with that,
You're
people
dead.
that start mutating will have these noticeable effects, showing symptoms like dizziness, vomiting,
Can I at
diarrhea,
least grow?
headaches, and uncontrollable drooling,
Diarrhea?
along with later symptoms.
I'm gonna
such
be
as
dookie
rashes,
in on
red
myself?
eyes, your spine begins to bump out, and you
Dorsal?
start to rot and look like a zombie.
Oh,
Along with
gross.
people,
Gross.
even food mutates, coming back to life, as seen with this thing in the supermarket in the video titled The Army of Godzilla. We also see in this video, mutated Godzilla human hybrids still retain a good amount of their intelligence, being able to set traps and wait for their prey, and they're even able to break into people's homes. So overall,
that's
between his
actually
abilities,
terrifying.
radiation mutating
Yeah, we're
effects,
cooked,
and
y'all.
sheer
End of the
power,
world type
Invasion of
stuff.
Godzilla sits
We're not
comfortably
beating
at
this
one,
Godzilla.
even surpassing
Invasion
some real
Godzilla?
Godzillas, such as Shin,
No.
-1. 54. And you could even argue that some of the mid-tiers like 84, 2014, and Zilla Jr. might be outdone by this monster of a Godzilla. But now, onto the fun, unusable stuff. So if you just wanted the main canon list, there you go. But if you want to see this list rearranged with new info, then stick around.
Man, terrifying.
All right, so, hi, everyone.
I'm sticking
This is
around,
a little
bro.
Weird. This is the first time a video will go on for quite a bit longer than when the results were given. So if you left, you can't hear me, but I don't blame you. This is a little bit odd. But to those who stayed, howdy. If you made it this far, go into the comments and comment Tootsie Roll, so I know who's a real
Tootsie
one.
Rolls.
Anyways,
Go
we have
comment that
3
on his
Godzillas
video.
that will be getting reevaluated. Those
Okay.
being Niloticus, the Man in the
Niloticus,
Suit, and
Man in the
Bloodbath
Suit, and
Godzilla.
Bloodbath. Where-
and the Man in the Suit
what do you mean they're
specifically
being-
had their creators reach out, both of which tried to give me info on their OCs.
Okay.
Come on, guys. You can't buy me out. I'm not a politician.
You said how much?
Yeah, you're the strongest, dude. You're the strongest. Alright.
Anyways, let's start with Niloticus, as
This
he's the
fool is
easiest.
funny,
now,
bro.
There isn't too much to add here. The most notable thing being that his skeleton is indestructible, and he also has a chart from the Blade Ninja, the creator of the game, saying who he could beat in a fight. Other than that, there really isn't too much to look at. So, moving on to the Man in the Suit. Firstly, Unknowingly has said that if the series were to have gone on longer, the Man in the Suit would grow stronger and more durable, which makes sense given what is said in the series. Now, he can't punch a building down, but given he would be very intelligent,
'cause he's not
he would
big.
know to
He's
go
not
for
big
weak
enough,
points
bro.
in said building, showing that he's not only strong but strategic. But more importantly, big foes. Unknowingly has said that if the Man in the Suit were to go against a larger foe, let's say Behemoth as an example, and he were to be stepped on, his radiation would keep him alive. And any tiny pieces that would be stuck to the larger foe would act
Oh,
as
it's gonna be a
and
parasite?
soon would take over its mind and body, transferring the Man
Oh,
in the Suit's consciousness to a new
shoot.
host. So while
Okay.
not being a big power increase,
That's-
his whack radiation abilities get
Kill him.
boosted
Guess what
tenfold.
happens?
But now lastly,
He turns
Bloodbath.
into Bloodbath.
Good lord, his creator sent me an essay. Let's go. Firstly, his beam. Bloodbath's beam, specifically his white one, is the hybrid maker, if you will. It shoots out tiny needles packed with radiation and DNA. And once hitting anything organic,
that's nasty,
it begins
bro.
to mutate them into a Godzilla
That's
hybrid.
nasty.
To add on, there are even different roles the hybrids can take on, similar to an ant colony. The two main roles being workers and soldiers. We also
Oh,
learned
wow.
that Grin, aka
Okay,
Bloodbath Godzilla,
he might be the
technically
strongest.
isn't alive, at least in a normal sense. He's actually made up of souls and almost acts of the rumbling, leveling cities for his own goals. Because of this, he can't really feel pain, though he can overheat, leading to him collapsing. And lastly, and most importantly, his beam. specifically his red one, which I have yet to see. I think he's referring to the orange one here. This beam being able to alter the atmosphere, making it difficult to breathe for anything that isn't a mutant, going as far as making a hurricane-style storm. I guess think something like Monster vs. Ghidorah. So with that in mind, how will the bracket change?
Okay.
Well, to start off, Invasion of
Interesting.
Godzilla stays at first. While Bloodbath is impressive, Invasion has two major things over him. Firstly, sheer
Okay,
power.
so
Whether it
Invasion
be
stays at
actual
first.
strength or his Maharaja
Bloodbath
levels of
probably goes to
adaptation,
2.
Invasion of Godzilla is what Shin stands think Shin Godzilla is, being able to quickly adapt and create new ways to combat his foes. But secondly, his radiation still
This the
far
real
outdoes
version. This the
Bloodbath,
real Shin.
spreading worldwide and taking over not just animals but even plants to the point where they become their own kaiju. Not to mention, while Bloodbath makes workers, Invasion of Godzilla can just make more of himself. He still
Yeah,
sits
that's a
at
problem.
first with
That's a
both
problem.
beams. But now at second place is Bloodbath. While Mushroom Cloud still has the better firepower with his beam, I do think given Bloodbath will be a nonchalant Goji about it, I do see him just barely dethroning Mushroom Cloud.
I see.
Though the
I
whole
see.
radiation
No,
argument,
I think this
don't
is a
really see as
fair
plausible thing,
assumption.
as I do think Mushroom Cloud and Invasion of Godzilla would likely be able to fend off against a new DNA, acting like an airborne pathogen. But as third, as we said, just barely
Yeah,
being
keep
surpassed
Mushroom.
is Mushroom Cloud.
Yep.
At fourth is still the man in the suit. Though with that being mentioned,
He could
and
be
Mushroom
moved up
Cloud
to
are
2.
swappable.
Or
If
3,
Mushroom Cloud
okay.
shoots a beam at him and blows him up, well, it's wraps. But if he were to step on him, while it would take a while, I do think the man in the suit might be able to take over Mushroom Cloud. Which, if he could,
Which
the
would
man
put
in
him
the
at
suit having a
3.
big body would surpass Bloodbath. But that's only under those super specific conditions. And, well, the rest of the same.
But he
By
would-
a lot of kisses, indestructible skeleton is cool.
He would
It's
have to
not
be
enough
stepped
get him any
on.
higher than he already was. So, there you have it. Both canon and non-canon rankings. What do you think? Is my list right? Or do you
Nah,
disagree?
I
Let me know in the
absolutely
comments.
mess
If
with
you
your
enjoyed
list,
this
bro.
video, make sure you subscribe.
I think your
As
list is
mentioned, this
perfect.
Halloween, we have some killer videos. But I hope you all enjoyed. And with that being said, as always, keep collecting.
Okay, I think your list is perfect. The man in the suit is a problem because he can go from that rank to, I mean, wouldn't he go to number 1 technically if Invasion was to step on him? Wouldn't he infect Invasion's mind? I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm not getting the right information. Maybe I'm misunderstanding. But bro, great video. Please, guys, go show love to Goji Guy. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. And until next time, I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Peace.